Hey everyone, um, coming to you from this kind of cool southern Illinois day. I want to take a few minutes to give an unbiased third party review of something as RVers that I was really curious about because I saw it pop up recently. There's a whole bunch of face space ads and so on that are pushing this HomeFi internet. I was really curious because we are current Starlink customers, being that we travel near full time, um, and also have previously used a couple of mobile internet solutions. I was really curious about this particular offering, primarily based on the price point. And at my average usage from Starlink and historic usage on Starlink, I was looking at a cost savings about $30 a month, which is pretty significant when you consider that neither my wife nor I work full time anymore. Our budgets are what they are, and you just try to work to stretch your dollar a little further. So had some conversations initially with the HomeFi people. I can say right out the gate that one thing that vexes me, and it's a conversation that I've had with them, whoever them are, over at HomeFi, it vexes me that there is no direct customer service phone number touch point with this company. But at the same time, in all fairness, Starlink doesn't have that either. But it's kind of one of those providing that extra little Linus blanket of comfort that in the dark of the night I can reach out and actually talk to somebody on the phone. Would be kind of nice, but I mean, I get it. They claim to be a small company, and costs are what they are there. So not trying to ding them. I just it's kind of one of those things as a customer. That's kind of something that would be very beneficial, I think, but not a deal breaker by any chance, because I'm here talking to you clearly because I decided to pull the trigger, give them a shot, and give it a run, see how it works. So one other detail here is that I just got back from a shakeout run from an event that I did on Saturday, and it kind of felt like a kid at Christmas because my HomeFi package was over there at the post office. I literally ran it home with it under my arm, unpacked it, and kind of proceeded to set up. So a little quick background on me and where I come from relating to information technology, that industry, and so on. I've got over 20 years of experience in that particular field, ranging from wide area network, transport, radio, Wi-Fi, and so on. I did it for a large majority of my time in the military prior to retiring, and also continued that path for just over 6 years after I retired as a defense contractor. I personally hold over 13 industry certifications, a lot of them Cisco based because that's a big prime pusher, but also ranging from Brocade to the some of the CompTIA stuff, their technical trainer, security, kind of over there, some Linux, web design, so on. So I've got a pretty broad range of experience to draw from walking into this, and trying to leverage all those things to my advantage naturally, right? But I feel that it's kind of important for everybody to get a unpaid third-party, unbiased review of this. Hopefully help you make a little more informed decision if you decide to go down this path. So if you stay tuned, I'm going to run through some of the things I've seen going through setup, and what some of the ins and outs of the user interface and so on. Not going to get too down in the weeds on it, because you could probably find plenty of other videos from HomeFi themselves, pushing their product. So again, this is just a unsponsored, third-party, unbiased review of what I think, having unboxed it, put it together. And if you're still watching at the end, I commend you. This stuff can be pretty dry. I find it particularly exciting, but I understand if you don't. but if you're watching this video, it's because you have a bit of interest in the outcome. So stay tuned. We'll get there, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, so kind of getting into it, I will say right out the gate, unboxed this product within less than 15 minutes. It was up and running. That's also inclusive of the instructions saying give it 10 minutes once you've powered it on to let it search for signals, do the post-test boot up, all that good stuff. So 15 minutes of setup using the the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz wireless SSIDs and the default passwords provided. I was actually pulling internet, and I'll show some graphics of some analysis I did on upload download in my current position where I'm at here in Southern Illinois. And yeah, you've got to take all that with a grain of salt, because user mileage is going to vary for your location and so on. And I also intend to do some testing a little further south and west of here in about a week, and then I'm going to be taking a trip to West Texas for about 3 weeks to attend the National RV Training Academy's RV Inspector course and their RV Technicians course, which I'm super excited about. So finding this HomeFi could be kind of the answer to a solution I was trying to find, because my wife's staying here at our house, and I didn't want to depend on the RV park's Wi-Fi. RV parks have Wi-Fi. They do their best, but they're not in the business of providing customers Wi-Fi. They're in the business of providing you an RV spot. And arguably so these days, internet can be considered a necessity, and much like your power, your water, it even could be considered a utility. And especially with some of the shenanigans several years ago, people working from home, all that good stuff. Pretty strong arguments, and I'm firmly in the camp that internet is should be, if not considered a utility, more than just a nice to have, just due to how we conduct business and how we do things on a daily basis. So first thing I noticed getting into the administrative console is that it's actually very clean looking. I don't have enough fingers, knees, and toes to count how many user interfaces I've had to nug my way through over the years, and some of them made me want to shove a pencil in my ear. This particular one, very clean, very intuitive as far as user interfaces go, and I can fairly say, if you don't have a whole lot of experience with it, and just have some basic experience setting up your own personal home networks, then you'll have no problem firing it up, doing some of the basics that you need to do. And like I said, there's no metric to measure what I just said. Individual user mileage is going to vary on this one. It also does seem to toggle through the carriers very, very seamlessly. I actually watched it do it once or twice. In this particular location that I set it up in, I intentionally set it up in there not to make HomeFi fail, but I also know it's a particular problem area for cellular coverage, which is what this particular service offering is using. And so I decided to kind of set up one of the harsher tests that I have the ability to set up here, and it performed very well. I've got my cell phone sitting right next to it with 1 bar of LTE coverage. This particular Wi-Fi router combo was able to pull 2, maybe 3 bars, according to their little user interface. So right out the gate with the multiple in, multiple out antennas that are on this thing, it was seeing a stronger signal than my cell phone could see, which again is kind of obvious considering your cell phone doesn't have those big honking antennas sticking off of it. So I have not noticed any dropouts, but again, I've got some latency, some throughput, and some jitter specifications, some photos I'll throw up here in a little bit. So after powering the device up, letting it do its thing, settle in for a little bit, I decided to go through the menus that I just discussed previously and check out what some of the security hardening options were, because me and my background, I'm not just turning on something with Wi-Fi capability and letting it fly. I've got to do a little more hardening, because unfortunately there's bad people out there that do bad things. And yeah, granted, not a lot of the options in here are going to keep somebody from doing bad things, but just like car alarms and a lot of those other things that we do, you're going to make it just hard enough that somebody's going to move on to a softer target. And just kind of taking my time cruising through the menu, not really knowing where things were in the menu. I probably got this thing hardened with some basic security requirements, changing SSIDs, changing username, passwords, admin, and passwords, and all that good fun stuff. And I was probably timing in about the 30 to 35 minute range, which I personally would sit there for several hours and have in the past, just trying to get some of these basic things set up on more complex networks. And so I don't know, if it very easily passes my expectation within 30 minutes and be able to harden this thing, fire it up, and feeling comfortable that I could essentially travel wherever I want, take this with me, and at least from a security perspective, feel that it's hardened to the point that I'm not a soft target anymore. Just to be aware as you're going through some of these security options, and depending on how you do it, I was stepping through it one setting at a time, rather than just changing all the settings across the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5, and then changing SSIDs and changing passwords and then saving it, and hope I didn't screw any of it up. I stepped through it one step at a time. I'd make a change, I'd save it, device will reboot, drops you off, you've got to reconnect. But even still, I was still 30-35 minutes, which is very honorable, and I really appreciated that. So one thing to note inside that user interface, which not a lot of devices offer, I guess there's more offering these days on the customer side of the house, is there's actually a wireless site survey option, which is super cool, because when I do basic site surveys for my own use, and as I used to do professionally, I would use third-party software, and I didn't have to fire that up, even though I actually did, and I saw a lot more with my third-party software than I would see with the internal software in this user interface. But it was pretty honest, gave me a pretty good idea of congestion on those bands, and would help you make a decision if you're in an area that's a little more congested, or in a park that's a little more congested, to go with a 2.4 gigahertz band or the 5 gigahertz band. Again, all personal preference really, but having that in there was super cool and kind of unexpected. So take that for what it's worth. So one of the other things I wanted to kind of delve into a little bit on this is, my personal question is this a U.S. based company? Do some basic looking to figure out a little bit of background, because when you hit the company's website, which you'll see a graphic of, still not a whole lot of contact info, but you can do a who is domain search, try to gather a little more info. You see that their HomeFi.info domain is hosted by GoDaddy, which small businesses look for cost-effective means, don't have their own servers, their own data centers, all that good stuff. So again, that kind of checks out. The equipment was sent from New Jersey. Got here pretty quick, within a day or two. So again, no terrible, crazy internet sleuthing going on. Just want to give a little bit of background on what an average person could find out about this company. So I'm back inside, and did a bit of testing that you're going to see here in a second. And really what I wanted to do was put up HomeFi graphics against Starlink. And you got to consider that I'm in a fairly rural area here in southern Illinois.
And I'm not comparing pure apples to apples, but you got the HomeFi, which is the cell based with their SIM cards, against the Starlink throughput, which is that low Earth orbit, the LEO satellites. But I wanted to just see a fair comparison at a couple different points through the day, based on local usage, network congestion, that kind of thing. Not a whole lot of people out here, so I can't really push the network congestion piece of this, but just try to give it as a fair shake and test a comparison for anybody that's watching as possible.
So a couple more points I wanted to discuss before I wrap this up was I also did an online upgrade of the firmware. It came shipped with version 1.1.5, and that's as of October 16th, 2023. There was a 1.1.8 available. I went ahead and upgraded that firmware. I did an online upgrade rather than pulling it down and trying to push it to it. I decided just to go for it on that one, and I figured worst case if I bricked this thing, I would try to get a hold of somebody and figure out how to recover. It wouldn't be the first time I shot myself in the foot, so I decided just to go for it. Worked out fine. You're looking at I don't know, 8.5 minutes. Device reboots, drop off again, kind of rinse and repeat on the security hardening that I mentioned previously. So all in all, um, arbitrary scales. I'm fairly happy with this. The trip that I mentioned just to the south here in about a week, and then ultimately my trip to West Texas, and then the Dallas-Fort Worth area following on around Thanksgiving. I intend to put this thing through its paces because that Dallas-Fort Worth area leg of my trip before I come back here to southern Illinois is fairly rural as well, on a 40-acre ranch. And previously I had used the PepWave, which used multiple SIMs. I had an AT&T and a Verizon SIM, and it really struggled out there too. So I'm really interested to see what field testing for this thing looks like. The downside is I'll be over my 7-day user trial period, but I think at this point, once I get this trip down south, I'll have the confidence to either keep this thing or pack it back up, ship it back to these cats, and just say, hey, thanks, good luck, build your business, and maybe I'll try it again in the future. Um, but really, the last parting thing, and again, it's just no direct customer phone number access. What you will have to do is get onto the internet, which has its own set of problems, right? If you have no internet, you're trying to get on with your phone in an area that doesn't have internet, which is part of my reasoning for being a little vexed about not having a direct phone line, a lifeline to a customer service to help dig me out of a ditch if something's not working, and make it a little less uncomfortable for me. But past that, if it doesn't work out, you get a hold of these guys. The chat feature online is not that great. I've sat there waiting for an agent to come onto the chat for 4 or 5 hours. And that wasn't just a singular occurrence. That's been a couple times just trying to reach out and talk to these guys. The other option is you can schedule a callback. In that same area you would actually schedule a chat. The downside there is I have not ever been given an option of a same-day callback, and that may have just been other users trying to jump in on this, or troubleshooting, or whatever the reason is. and I get, the people on the other side have their business and what they're trying to do, but in all fairness, I'm trying to conduct my business too, and so scheduling a call back for sometime tomorrow, is a little bit of a pain, but in the grand sense of it, I get it. It's just the way this rolls. So all that being said, check out some of the other analysis I've done. If you like this, give these guys a shot. If not, you don't have to, but I just figured, if nothing else, given my 2 cents and a unbiased review on here was at least worth a little bit of time, and hopefully help somebody else out, and maybe save you a little bit of agony. Until then, go ahead and RV on. Take care of everybody. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you there.